All right. Well, thank you for joining us today at the Texas Entrepreneur Network's webinar pitch series. We ran this program last month and got quite a bit of positive feedback about the efficiency of it and seeing good deals and the ability to reduce travel out to the funding forums. And so we're glad you guys could join us today. We have three presenters signed up here. We have Byron Attridge of Club Drive, who will kick off first. We will then go to Karen Shire of Electronic Polymers. We have Mark Spilotro of iKnowWare. And then we'll have Jack Terrazas of DrySafer. Each presenter gets 10 minutes to pitch and then 5 minutes of Q&A. You have a questions box in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. As questions occur to you, I encourage you to go ahead and just type them in, and then when we get to the Q&A portion, I'll read them out and we'll go through them. And so go ahead and type them in as they come to you, and then we'll get them answered as we go forward. And then after the session, I'll follow up with each of you to talk more about what you found interesting, what questions you have, who you want to follow up with, and make sure you have their exact summary, and we'll get you connected to the entrepreneurs with that. So if there's no other questions, let's go ahead and kick right into it. With this, let's go ahead and pass it over to Byron Attridge of Club Drive. Byron?
All right. Thanks, Hall. Thanks for having me on the webinar, and thanks to everybody who's attending. I'm Byron Attridge. I'm the president of Club Drive Systems. And what Club Drive Systems is customized cloud computing services for businesses. And what I mean by customized cloud computing services is what differentiates us from your typical software as a service play is that we have the ability on our platform to host and serve any application in the world to our clients and deliver that to any device, any computer, any smartphone, tablet, etc. And that is really the crux of what differentiates us from your typical cloud computing play. We customize the service to include any application they wish, and that enables them to have customized IT for their business. The opportunity out in the market is that businesses need software applications to do their jobs. They don't want to manage it and they don't want to own it. All they want it to do is work when they turn it on. All right? SaaS applications really just aren't enough in order to address their needs when it comes to an end-to-end solution. So what we do is we enable the customer to come to us with their SaaS applications, their client server applications, their legacy applications, maybe it's a Linux application or what have you, and we can host all of them on our platform, and they log in through a secure 256-bit encrypted interface in order to access it from any computer, any mobile device that they choose. Okay? So customize, complete end-to-end solution for the client. Our target market, we have two primary beachhead markets in the SMB space, and they are healthcare and professional services. Just in those markets alone, we estimate that there's 207 million in serviceable clients there. The larger market is much broader, and we intend as we develop along to get into some other vertical markets, but as it stands right now, that's what we've got. Very, very large market opportunity. Competition for these types of services is highly fractured in the marketplace. There are a lot of providers that are trying to do different versions of cloud computing solutions, and most of the competitors have SaaS applications or a single set of proprietary applications that they've developed on their own that are browser-based. Well, that single set of applications doesn't typically address the entire business need of the company. Our competitive advantages really lie as much as anything in the technology that we've created this multi-tenant architecture on, and this multi-tenant architecture is based on Citrix Systems technologies for virtualization of applications and data. We've been named as a leader by Citrix Systems in the marketplace from the standpoint of cloud computing services as a provider of theirs. And the business model really comes down to us being able to host and serve applications to our clients from anywhere, anytime, on any device. Typical rate is about, well, it's actually grown to about $120 per user per month. The average number of users right now is actually up from where I made this slide. It's about 25 and rising, and soon we think it's going to be somewhere around about 50 and rising from there. We currently have actually about 650 users on the system, and that's obviously growing as well. And one of the keys to our success is the stickiness of our service. This is a very, very sticky service. Once you have a client's data and applications, all of their data and applications on your system, then the switching costs are so high that it's going to be a really big event for them to want to migrate away from you. Our traction in our markets, we have a direct channel and an indirect channel, channel sales. Direct sales comprises about 70% of our revenue currently, but the fastest growing piece of it is our channel sales through software vendors, through value-added resellers, and through managed service providers. That channel is growing very rapidly because we are able to provide their customers with software as a service on any piece of software that they choose in the marketplace today. We have over $300,000 in pipeline revenue. We've got key contracts in both the state of Texas and the state of Georgia. It's just a graph of the growth of our sales recently over time. Our management team all has startup experience, including myself and my business partner, CEO, John Alston, and our CTO and our EVP of Finance and Operations. Our financials, you can see our projections that go from just under $1 million for this year to 2.77 for next year, 6.9 for the following, 13.8 for the year after that, and then 18. Currently, our revenue run rate is about $84,000 a month in annualized revenue streams, and that brings us to, if you extrapolated it without adding anything onto it, today it would be at $1,000,005. All right. Oops. Our capital raise, we're raising $750,000 total. We have investments of $100,000 from one of our current customers who is an accredited investor as well, and we have two of his businesses on board. He was so ecstatic with the business model that he invested in us. We have 200 committed, and we have 3 additional customers that are interested in investing. We're currently in discussions with Baylor Angel Network to be the lead on this round, and some of the details behind it and the broad strokes are we are looking to do a royalty-based investment. This is not the only structure that we're willing to negotiate, but it is the primary structure at this point, where the investment is made, and over a 5-year period of time, the investor would receive a 3x return on investment, which done over a 5-year period, paid out at 5% of revenue, comes out to be about a 36% IRR over the 5-year term. The payments would begin somewhere between 9 and 12 months, we believe. We've got a revenue trigger that we're trying to put in there that we think that's going to be the best way to move that. Here's some of the types of applications that we can host. Electronic medical records applications. We have a lot of medical practices, legacy applications. Like I said, there's an MS-DOS application that we host for one of our clients that actually runs it on iPads. And then client-server applications of any kind, like Microsoft Outlook, which obviously is backed by Microsoft Exchange or any other client-server application and even web applications that just run through a web browser. And we can produce that all as a single interface to the user with single point authentication to all of their applications and data. Right, so at this point I think it's probably good to just turn it over to questions. That usually is the most productive part of the conversation.
Great. For those investors who came in a little bit late, there is a question box in the lower right-hand corner, so just type those in and I'll be glad to read them off, and Byron then can answer them. The first one that came in is, what is your ideal customer profile? Who do you normally sell to?
Like I said, our two beachhead markets are healthcare and professional services. The ideal customer, if you really want to profile them, is a customer that really wants to refocus their efforts and their resources back on their own business as opposed to IT management. Most businesses do not start their business in order to manage IT, but they have to because they're forced to. That's the only model they've been offered for the past 30 years in distributed computing. But this is offering them an opportunity to, in a wholesale way, get out of managing IT. They can literally move all their data and applications to our infrastructure, not have to ever buy servers again, and not have to load software onto their local computers and try to keep that synced up across this laptop, this desktop, and this other iPad and whatever else. When you log in from any device, you get the exact same experience as you would from any other device. And that means that you truly have all your data and applications mobile, and they just move around to wherever you log in from. And so the ideal customer is somebody who wants to get out of managing IT, who maybe has some aging infrastructure and is staring down the barrel of $50,000 hardware refresh in order to keep their network going, and really doesn't want to expend that capital, who really wants to take that capital and refocus it on their business and turn what would be large capital costs into an operating expense that is much lower rate burn over time.
Okay. Next is, please explain the nature of the business relationship with the state of Texas and Georgia.
Okay. With the state of Georgia, we have an ongoing contract where we are actually providing them consultative services on building virtualization, these types of virtualization technologies out themselves. We do build on-premise systems for some of our clients, including the state of Georgia, and we also do some hosting for them as well of certain applications that they don't want to build infrastructure out for. Now, for the state of Texas, we have just been awarded a DIR contract for providing healthcare, virtualized healthcare IT services. And that contract is still in development. Even though we've been awarded it, we're trying to refine it in order to make it more specific to certain applications that we know the state agencies are interested in having. And so we're in the process of completing that process right now. But as it stands right now, the state agencies are already able to purchase under that DIR contract.
What is your arrangement with Citrix? Is it exclusive?
It is not exclusive with Citrix. It is known as the Citrix Service Provider Program. It is a partner program that we actually helped them develop. We were the first Citrix service provider. We knew that it would not be an exclusive relationship, and we are actually Citrix's preferred. We're almost like a master franchise for them when they have new Citrix service providers that they want to try to get into the program who don't have the know-how in order to get into the program. We actually facilitate them getting into the program and building out their systems and helping them to get into the program, because we know that we're the leader, and when this all shakes out, there will begin to be some consolidation over the next 24, 48 months, and it puts us in a very, very good position to either acquire or be acquired by other companies in the space.
All right. What is the revenue model with the channel?
Revenue model with the channel is typically the way we do it is, let's say, for example, it's a software company that has a client-server application. They'd like to offer it in a SaaS model to their clients, like an electronic medical records software, piece of software. They can come to us and say, hey, will you be our hosting partner for our software? We host it on our systems, and we deliver it to the client, and then we pay them a percentage of revenue off of the deals that we do with the client. And that can be done one of two ways. We can either do it where ClubDrive is transparent to the end user, and the software company provides Tier 1 support, and it's branded with the software company's logos and all that. The interface is all branded for them. Or we can do it as ClubDrive being a partner provider that's out there in front doing the Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 support as well. So we structure it either way. Obviously, with the white label kind of program where we're transparent, we're going to be paying a lower percentage of revenue to them than we would if we were doing the Tier 1 and Tier 2 support.
Right. Who do you compete with?
We compete with other providers in our space directly. Obviously, like I said, there's kind of an environment of co-opetition that goes on in the space right now, because I think everybody knows that some of the real knowledge that you gain in providing this kind of service really becomes exclusive to trade secrets in particular verticals. In order to understand the line of business applications, like, for example, an electronic medical records software application and how that ties into retinal scanning equipment or other modalities that are on site with a healthcare provider. Those kind of things are very exclusive to that vertical, and each provider seems to be nestling into particular verticals. And when the consolidation starts taking place, what's going to end up happening is companies are going to begin to merge and acquire in order to get into other verticals to gain that specific knowledge to particular industries.
Okay. What is the use of funds?
Use of funds is going to be primarily we're going to finish out the build-out of a new data center that provides us with greater technologies for automation and provisioning of accounts and applications to our clients. It'll streamline the process of onboarding our clients and also provide a lot more features and benefits to the clients just from the standpoint of self-administration, which reduces our internal overhead, and also that's kind of what the clients seem to be asking for, is they'd really like to be able to do certain things themselves without having to come to us to do it, add new users and add new applications and things like that. We want them to be able to do that themselves, and if that's a benefit to them, then it's a benefit to us because it reduces our overhead. That's part of the use of funds. The other part of the use of funds is for sales and marketing and for product development.
Do you have a mobile platform on the cloud?
Yes. Well, the entire platform is mobile and is accessible by any smartphone.
Okay. Do you do anything with analytics?
As of yet, we are not doing anything necessarily with analytics. We are looking to team up with a BI partner. We've talked to several. We've got one that we're talking to. We've got an NDA with that we're talking to right now that we think might be a good partner, but we're open to any ideas that anybody has. Okay.
I think that's it for the current questions. Thank you, Byron, for doing that. Let me go ahead and pass it over to Mark Splotro of iKnowWhere, and we'll have Mark give his presentation. You're welcome. do have a little bit more time here as Electronic Polymers is not able to make it today, so everyone gets 10 minutes of pitch, 10 minutes of Q&A. So with that, I'll go and pass it to you, Mark.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mark Spilotro. I'm the co-founder of iKnowware, and thank you for spending your moments this afternoon with us to see the world as solution as service. At iKnowware, we're focused on delivering personalized solution for the small to medium business and enterprise market, and we have expanded into healthcare in the personalization of what people need to know to run their business, see their business, view their patient, view their provider, and see their physician. We are producing a strong return on investment for our Series A investors. And we're going to improve the quality of life for people utilizing iKnowHealth and iKnowware globally. And simply said, the old way is software as service. The new way and patented way with iKnowware is solution as service. So as you connect people and process, and as we are recognized by one of the top business magazines in the world, Forbes, what we've done at iKnowware is grow businesses with what they need to know to do their job. Simply said, and I'll go back, as you look at the top of the screen there, the old way was siloed solutions that did not talk to each other. In other words, one-off applications that was not able to be viewed in a unified and simplified way. What we did at iKnowware was simplify and unify the way you do work and the way you connect. Those touch points are obviously marketing. And with marketing, you have the dissemination information in campaigns. Those campaigns could be email-based campaigns. They could be SMS or message-based campaigns to your smartphone, to your iPhone. And that disseminates information from your knowledge base. And as well, a document library that is associated with information that becomes knowledge and is connected. The old way was CRM. The new way is iKnowware. In other words, become more than a CRM. And with iKnowware, you're able to view your orders in real time, view those assets in real time, view inventory that's on a truck or multiple locations based on IP presence. Also, how are we responding to the customers in a case management standpoint? And then measurement and management in real time with over 175 plus business intelligence reports. So no more static spreadsheets that are subject to fraud and not being up to date. Everyone knows receivables are key. Cash flow is key. When do we receive our payment? How do we receive our payment on a mobile phone, mobile device, processing our business transaction through iKnowware? So the Squares of the world, and you guys do know Square, they just received a bunch of more money from another Silicon Valley-based VC. So those transactions, including Square transactions, are processed through payment gateways attached to iKnowware. So when that quote is generated, that invoice is made in real time, that transaction occurs. What have they paid? How quickly have they paid us? And that links back to operations. What have we deployed? What have we delivered? Whether that is a product or a service in the field. We also add video. So the dissemination of how to install a specific product, or how do you deliver a service, or how do you educate a client or a customer, that information is an attached video library that is embedded and threaded within the framework of iKnowWare. Also, project management. So built-in project management, not another standalone siloed application. We connect your project management within iKnowWare. And that relates back to the client. What have we done for them? Everything's time and date stamped. How have we responded to them? If we link to a call center or a distributed call center group, which a lot of customer clients of iKnowWare have a front-end call center, tracking inbound calls, outbound faxes, because in healthcare you have also the dissemination of paper-based diagnostic labs that are paper, and that means fax. And that is support and case management. And then integration or replacement of legacy back-end inventory control systems. Small to medium businesses typically don't have an SAP R3, but a large enterprise company that has SAP R3 as their inventory control system can view that inventory in real time, anytime, anywhere, any mobile device. So a lot of our project management, field service, oil exploration groups who need to see a specific part, how that part is installed, can view that in real time. So how do we make money on this? Well, AT&T certified iKnowWare application as a certified solution on their carrier operator network. AT&T is our $57 billion partner, and with the activation of iKnowWare subscription services with AT&T data activations, we bundle that hardware and solution as service of iKnowWare to have fat, sticky, non-churnable, subscription-based data service sales. On the healthcare side, we're just beginning. And those medical device makers, we call them MDPs, and those are medical device products. We're linking those medical devices back to iKnowHealth subscriptions for care management. Last month, we were out and were blessed to have the Telecom Council of Silicon Valley award iKnowWare and 5 other companies. Out of 200-plus companies, we were top 5 as most disruptive. In other words, we're changing the way people connect and communicate anytime, anywhere. So as we're going, we're leveraging those wireless industry and communications and telecommunications people to personalize and unify those connections anytime, anywhere over the different networks, whether that's a 4G network, 3G network, and WiMAX networks in some of our global customer markets. We have our experienced team in place, and we're ready to grow. We're really looking for more great people and board members. And with that, in the small and medium business market, we see iKnowWare growing to a $550 million revenue stream through our strategic partner program. With iKnowHealth, with 1% market share on medical monitoring, we see that as a $1 billion recognized revenue just for iKnowHealth. In some of the other presentations that we've seen and others investors have viewed, they know that that's a $40 to $80 billion annual market, and we're just looking for 1% on that. So what we've done is we've combined those multiple revenue streams with our multiple patents, which are 3, and 2 of our international strategic partners with 2 international patents, and have the global brand of iKnowWare be offered globally. As we know, those 2 areas of growth that we spoke of, we're at a growth stage and at $1 million in trailing revenue for iKnowWare, and iKnowHealth will represent $1.8 million in revenue early 2013 with a $3.2 million as we implement and deploy those subscribers, which are 100,000 with one medical device partner. Why are we here? We're talking about a $5 million investment in our Series A. It'll be between 3 to 4 investors, most likely between $1.5 million to $3 million, or an additional 2 to top off that $5 million. The I Know Health, we actually look at that as a $6.9 million investment, as a follow-on investment, and that will be with and through some of our medical device partners who will carry that. So our capitalization is just under $12 million, and we look to generate $120 million in revenue with those 2 revenue streams by 2015 with our 5 distinct revenue streams. A company called Workday, and write down their symbol, WDAY, recently went public. Workday, we thought, would come out at $24 to $28 a share. It ended up coming out at $40+ a share with just under $120 million in revenue for this year. So that's under a $8 billion market cap, because the stock is now trading anywhere between $48 to $52 a share. We look to model that with an IPO in 18 to 24 months, as we have our revenue streams that started in 2007 and our profitability that occurred in 2009, and we are currently profitable. So as I spoke of earlier, those 5 revenue streams is the I Know Health mobile health platform, our strategic partner program, which we're adding strategic partners, and that will represent, with the addition of 12 to 14 channel managers across 12 U.S. markets. Those 12 hires will generate anywhere from $1.5 million to $3 million, to some aggressive groups on signing channel partners, to about $5 million each in revenue. But we'll be conservative on that and look at $18 million in revenue through our channel. Services is growing too, and our industry solution sets with the development of vertical targeted solutions. We have many groups coming at us to personalize iKnowWhere according to different market segments. We have over 175 domains plus, actually, well, it's 200 now. So if you go to everything from iKnow Insurance to iKnow Banking to iKnow Construction to iKnow Field Services, you name it, we have personalized it in the language of the industry. So our projected growth post-funding, as you see there, the channel partner program generates just under $5 million, as we discussed, in year 1. And then the implementation of our iKnow Health subscriptions represents $1.9 million, with an additional, as those are implemented over 12 to 14 months, at an average of 4,800 to 5,200 subscribers per month for the 100,000 subscribers of iKnow Health that will build out and have that revenue stream there. So our headcount will increase from our current 12 to over 50 with those key hires. Our conservative implementation into the SMB market through the channel represents the markets that we have here. And those addressable businesses, SMB businesses, in those 18 metropolitan markets you see there.
Are we ready for questions?
Actually, I'm going through. Here we go. As we went through there, use of proceeds for the $5 million would represent 1.5 on personnel on those 18 to 20 hires on sales and marketing, and then that would be matched on 7 to 9 on the engineering and services, an additional 4 to handle our channel growth, and then some build-outs and some with our hosting partners and channel marketing and advertising, as you see there. So we're positioned to be that global brand. I know where and I know health. We have no debt. Good team. I was at Apple in the early days, Oracle in the latter days. Dr. Phil won the Malcolm Baldrige Award at Motorola on the handset side. And if you get a chance, Google him and look up Product Creation. It's a great book that he wrote, and he's a black belt in Six Sigma. Dr. Chen, we've worked together a while, and he has quite experience on multiple platforms. Keith Sweeney was at the early days at Google and also Overture, and has done build-outs with Fathom Online, and did a lot of work on and with Bell Atlantic with their e-commerce and mobile commerce group. So we're growing out our board with that investment. We've got some good key advisors, but we're looking for strategic investors with a telecom and IT infrastructure background. We talked about those achievements, patents growth, and our 4 trademarks and domains. Customers, really 80% on the SMB side, and really our corporate growth has been for location-based services, geofencing, what assets need to be where, and how those assets are viewed. From the CPG, Consumer Products Group side, great things with Home EmpowerMate. And then on the other side, on medical, Select is a pretty good group and has grown through insurance verification with our platform. On the other side, on SMB, we've had great traction with I Know Insurance, I Know Mortgages, hotels, I Know Spas, and I Know Salons, and the personalization there. And then also back into field service concrete operations and project management with general contractors. Some of those include Turner, if you know them from a GC side, and a lot of their subs using I Know Construction out in the field. You're only good as your connections, and AT&T is a great $57 billion connection, and we'll grow in Latin America with Telefonica, and we're in negotiations with them and distributing I Know Where as a platform known as I Know Movil in Latin America. And the Latin America market is just growing. So we're unleashing companies' potential with I Know Where. I know where my sales are. I know where my inventory is. I know where my people are. Or with I Know Mercato or I Know Movil in Latin America. Healthcare, we're just going to grow. Qualcomm on the medical device side and AT&T invited us over to Dusseldorf, Germany. We were there with 90,000 healthcare participants and had a great response for our I Know Health platform. It's easier to deploy in the EU and in ASEAN countries because of the it's all government health. So they see a cost savings, they see a communications, they see a patient being served, and it gets implemented versus the U.S. market. You got to have velvet gloves and the FDA. So we're going to grow, and we are growing, and our advantages are there, and those advantages are manyfold on in essence being a Swiss Army knife to run your business with a Ferrari engine with communications, and that solution as service being personalized, and that solution as service being very, very fast.
We need to go ahead and take some questions here, Mark. So what are your patents on?
We have 3 patents. Those are on how you view information on a mobile device, a tablet. Also an advertising patent that's embedded and threaded on how you place and have an exchange of buying goods and services on a mobile device, and also messaging and authentication and activation on mobile handsets, and that's important from a security standpoint for doing healthcare transactions. So those are our 3 patents. Our 2 international patents are owned by a Swiss-based company, and that Swiss-based company has relationships with over 80 international carriers who will license their platform, communications platform, and Inoware becomes embedded as a threaded value-added service that is enhanced, and the speed is phenomenal, and it helps those carrier operators. So that's our 2 international patents. Great question.
Who are your international partners?
Who are they?
Yeah.
That is under non-disclosure. We will have announcements in 2013.
Okay.
Telefonica is a carrier operator partner.
Okay. What is an average ticket size per sale?
For our VARs, channel partners, managed service providers, or system integrators?
Either way, yeah.
Okay. Well, when you look what our managed service providers, system integrators, and VARs connect to a small to medium business, those small to medium businesses can typically have anywhere from 8 to 10 employees per location, and may have 5 to 8 locations, or that small to medium enterprise may have 50 or 60 direct employees. Those typically use iKnow Basic, iKnow Advanced, and iKnow Professional, and those are $39, $79, and $99 per subscriber per month. So basically less than a latte a day. They're connecting and securing, authenticating, and backing up all touch points of their business for less than a cup of coffee. And then with that, they have a secure connection over their mobile broadband connection in viewing those touch points of their business, whether it's marketing, sales, inventory, field services.
Okay.
So when you multiply those out, that is per customer, and then you have a VAR that will typically have 600 to 900 active. A VAR, I mean a reseller. 600 to 900 customers that will fit that profile, and then you multiply that revenue out. We have very successful VARs who saw their $1.5 million revenue stream through services go quickly close to $4 million within 7 months.
Okay, and we have time for one last question. Is your solution only mobile-based?
You view it on your desktop, you view it on your laptop, you view it on your handset, you view it on your tablet.
Great, great. All right, well, thank you, Mark. Let's move to the next presenter, Jack Terrazas of DrySafer, and we'll have Jack do the 3rd presentation of our 3 today, and we'll go from there. So, Jack, we'll move to you at this point. Are you there, Jack?
Hello, is the screen visible?
Yeah, yes, it is. It just came up, and we can hear you, so go ahead. It's your turn.
Okay, well, appreciate your time listening to this, our new product. It's a dryer vent alarm. On the first slide here, you'll see that it does two things. One, it reduces the risk of fire due to highly flammable lint buildup in dryers. And equally as important, it improves dryer efficiency and saves energy. Now here's I'll kind of walk through the problem, the causes, and the solution. Lint buildup causes dryers to run longer, using up to 77% more energy. In today's eco-conscious population, consumers, that's a big attribute, a major attribute. They also make dryers work harder, which shortens their life cycle, and third, cause fires. Now, here are the known facts. The Consumer Product Safety Commission reports 15,600 fires annually. Now, there's an asterisk at the end, and at the bottom, there's about 300,000 unreported fires. And the reason for this is because the fires were encased in the metal housing of the dryer. Here's the cause. As lint clogs up dryer exhaust ducts, it blocks the airflow, which is what our patent is based on. On the left side is a clear duct, the way it looks when it's new. In the middle is a clogged duct, and what happens is the lint begins to clog up and then also gets clogged up at the outside exterior vent. So the danger is, as blocked airflow overheats in dryers, you can see on the left there's a picture of lint covering the inside of a dryer. Keeping in mind that that screen, when you pull out after you're supposed to clean the screen after you dry a load of clothes. Those screens typically catch about 90% of the lint, the other 10% over a period of months, and so end up filling up the inside of the housing. And this is what happens after the fire. And again, there's about 300,000 fires that are contained within the dryer's metal housing that aren't even reported by insurance companies or fire departments, because the consumers basically call a service repair guy. He comes in and replaces the motor. The results, though, is overheated dryers often start on fire. On the left shows a dryer, a photo by an insurance company that shows what the cause of the fire of the home. And if there's a dryer in the basement and there's a spark that hits an oily rag or whatever, well, the house is going to start on fire. So we came up with a solution called Dry Safer, and there's I'm going to talk about Dry Safer 1 and then about our new second generation Dry Safer 2. We developed Dry Safer 1, and it detects early lint buildup before it clogs ducts and overheats the dryers. And the benefits of it were, number one, it improved operating performance by reducing the drying time, which helps the dryers last longer and save up to 77% in energy. And it attached to the dryer in about 45 minutes with a screwdriver. Now here's a screen that shows lint buildup over drying time. And if you look on the left-hand column where it says minutes to dry, if a load requires 45 minutes, it should be running at normal operation, even if it's got 30% lint buildup. But the more the lint builds up at the bottom there, where it has 30%, 40, 50%, all the way to 90%, the more the lint builds up, the longer it takes to dry, and then you get into the danger field. Now, we did a test market with Dry Safer 1. We've invested, myself and the inventor, about $165,000. So we produced about 3,500 units just to go out in the marketplace. Well, we went to 3 trade shows. We were the busiest booth at each trade show. We went to the HVAC show, the duct cleaning show, and the appliance repair show. We shipped half of our pilot run to 22 distributors, 2 of which were the largest in the industry. Well, what we learned was that the retail price point of $79 was too high, and that was based on the production run as well as the design of the product. When you sell a product into a distributor that turns around and sells it to the installers, they mark it up 30%, and then the installers, just like when you have a repairman come in, whether he's a plumber or a HVAC guy, they typically charge $50 or $60 just to show up, and then they add another couple $100 to do the repair. Well, in this case, it was $150 which and I've talked to dozens of installers, and they said, Jack, if you can get it down to $99 for us to install it, you've got a winner. It was compatible with about 90% of the dryers, but 10% it wasn't, and that was still a concern of ours. But we also learned from the Home Depot buyer, who incidentally said, once you get the product down to where it needs to be, come back. And it was a female buyer that said we ought to position it or consider positioning it as a green product versus fire prevention. But we proved two important things. Number one, it's a product that consumers wanted and needed, and if we improve the models and address these issues, we'd have a huge success. So we're in the right now developing DrySafer 2, which is our second generation model. We've reduced our costs. What I did is went to an entirely different design firm in north of Dallas, and we've reduced the cost from the original $20 to $12, and that's on production runs of about 25,000. If we produce 50,000 at a time, we could probably get it down to $10. But that also enables us to reduce the retail to $39 versus $79, which is exactly what the Home Depot and also the Lowe's buyers told us we needed to be. And now it also allows the installer to buy it from a distributor and install it for $99. By doing this, we have a 6-month consumer return on investment, because what the consumer will do is spend the $39.99 on the product, and they'll make that up within 6 to 12 months by reducing their drying time. So that's a significant attribute. It's going to be 100% compatible with all gas and electric, and now it'll install in 10 minutes. Before we required a screwdriver. Now all you do is remove the duct behind the dryer, put ours in there, and put the duct on the other side, and it's done. You push the dryer back, and it's a 10-minute job. The only competitor we've been able to find in this field is a product called Lint Alert. And if you go online to look at Lint Alert, you can probably buy it for $59 to $69 versus ours is going to be at $39. But the reason you won't find it in Home Depot, Lowe's, or other do-it-yourself places is because it requires professional installation. In fact, when we bought the competitive unit, the guy gave us a hard time. He said because he didn't want us having to calibrate. You have to actually calibrate the duct where you've got a number of parts, and they just don't want to sell it because they know they're going to have a lot of returns, which is why Home Depot and Lowe's and other retailers don't stock it. It's not a do-it-yourself product. It would have a huge return rate, and the cost is too high. This, you don't have to read this, but this Lint Alert installation manual, you can see all the parts involved and the steps, and it's just really confusing. And again, that's why it requires an HVAC guy or an appliance guy to install it. Ours, it's a universal design for quick, easy do-it-yourself installation. It takes 10 minutes. We put on our packaging, easy installation, installs in 4 easy steps, and this is something we'll promote on the packaging. So if let's say a housewife walks by and sees this, they're going to be able to install it themselves. Competitive comparison, I can send you this on a follow-up, but basically it shows how we improved from DrySafer 1 to DrySafer 2, which is really light years ahead of the competitor, Lint Alert, which again, we really don't consider it a competitor because it's not an easy product. Even HVAC and appliance repair guys don't like putting it in because it takes too long. Retail presentation, we've got about $40,000 invested in product design, packaging, point of sale, and this is something that both the Lowe's, Home Depot buyers like, and also the repairmen. If they're in there repairing let's say an ice maker and a refrigerator, they can put this box on the kitchen table and tell the homeowner, by the way, why don't you take a look at this dryer vent alarm while I'm repairing your oven or refrigerator, and for $99 I can have this thing installed in about 15 minutes and out of your way. So it's a self-sell packaging that even the installers don't have to pitch it. Now, the market size, one thing that's really in our favor, there's 100 million dryers in existence. And in the channels that we go after, there's over 25,000 individual retail outlets. Home Depot has 2,100, Lowe's is 1,700, Best Buy about 1,600. True and Ace each have about 4,500. We've already talked to QVC, QVC typically will run a small 6 to 7 minute test market, and then if it proves successful and you reach their goal, they'll typically give you what's called a TSV, today's special value, and the purchase orders there typically run from $1 to $2 million. And then there's over 100,000 distributors and installers on the right side of the screen. We at our trade shows, we talked to the VP of Stanley Steamer, and he says, Jack, I've got 1,100 trucks on the road, and each of them calls on 10 to 15 homes a week. If they just sold one a week, and shame on them if that's all they sold, but each guy could be selling 50 dry safers, and you got 1,100 of them, and that could be we can even private label for them. AP Wagner on the right there, they were so excited about the product when they saw it at the trade show, I had to rush them the graphics so they could put it inside their catalog, which reaches 72,000 appliance repairmen. So we've got all these people looking at buying the product. Mr. Appliance at the bottom there, they're up in Waco. They're part of a group called the Dwyer Group, and they serve about 50,000 customers a year. So the cash raise of $350,000, about a third of it would go to R&D, tooling, and a pilot production run. 22% for marketing, which would be social media. We've got Sonny Melendres, one of the gurus in social media, already on board to work with us. Then we've got a big box test market production, distribution production, and then just normal corporate overhead. And again, we've invested ourselves, myself and the inventor, $165,000. Projections. Based on just even a 70% cash raise, we've based our projections on just 1.5% or 1.5 million unit penetration of the 100 million dryers in 5 years. I've been told that's way underestimated. If we did just 3% penetration versus 1.5%, we've got a $24 million business. Our gross margins will run from 38% to 40% based on with the big boxes, they'll probably be about 38%. With the distributors, possibly even 42 to 45%. I want to be conservative on this, though. As you can see on the year 2017, that 1.5% over a period of 5 years comes out to $13.8 million. On the projected ROI, based on a post-cap value of $1.3 million, we're looking at $10,000 per unit, which gives you 0.74% equity, which would, if we did a two-time multiple on the 13.8 million or 27.65, your 10,000 investment would be worth 204,000. And talking to Hall, I'm meeting with my CFO tomorrow, and we're going to be developing a hybrid program where you can get a combination of equity as well as a royalty or returns on the top line revenues throughout the 5 years. And if we sell it in 2 or 3 years, well, you've made money along the way as well. So in quick summary, number one, it's proven. It's not a concept, obviously. We've proven commercial viability. We've got a utility patent, not a design patent. There's 100 million dryers. Consumer Products Safety Commission has verified the product need. It's a quick 10-minute installation, no tools required, and competition basically doesn't really exist. Management team, each of us has over 30 years experience. I've worked with companies, worked with the Boston Consulting Group, A.D. Little, Boozell, and Hamilton, been the executive VP of marketing and sales for $100 million companies. Tom Asciola, product technology. Tom is the inventor. He spent over 30 years owning an appliance repair. He can take apart a dryer, washing machine, refrigerator, or oven blindfolded. He knows every part of appliances. And then Kerry Birmingham, our CFO, he's taken a number of companies public and done a number of IPOs, and we've got him on board. Our exit strategy possibly would be 2 areas. One would be security companies or a major appliance company. On the securities, you've got ADT, First Alert, and KID would be 3 of logical ones, and then we can also do something, either a GE or Whirlpool, or it could very well be one of the big service companies that say, look, let's just take it over ourselves. And that's pretty much it. unless my time's run out, but I did put, I can send you the 10 prime factors why DrySafer will become a huge success. There's a number of issues. I'll just go through them in about a minute. Ease of building codes. One of the biggest problems is that you've got dryers are put in the middle of homes, behind closets in the middle of the home. Well, what happens is you've got these ducts running across underneath basements. You can see on the left there how these ducts kind of get, they're like accordions, and they get totally filled with lint, and it just causes dryers to run 2-3 times longer. Ducts are harder to get at, in crawl spaces, for instance, and people just don't think of cleaning their ducts because it's something out of sight, out of mind. But when they get a fire or their dryer starts on fire, you know, then they've got a problem. A lot of these ducts are made of that cheap, flimsy foil.
And we're out of time, Jack. If you could send those along, that'd be great. The questions they ask is, do you have any OEM market, or is it only an aftermarket product?
No, we've got. Here's what we're doing on the OEM basis. We've talked to Whirlpool a couple years ago. At one time, we thought about doing royalty, but the situation is there's about 6 million new dryers built a year. So our concern is that if we get one of these companies that says, okay, we'll put it in some of our models as a step-up model, and so let's say we get it in 500,000 or a million dryers, the problem is they're not going to give us 5% royalty on, say, if a dryer is $499 retail, they're probably selling it for, say, $250, $300. Well, they're not going to give us 5% on $300. They're going to give us 5% on the increased selling price of our feature. And when we do the numbers, 2 or 3 key factors why we don't want to do it. Number one, it's a lot more profitable to be making 45% and selling 1.5 million units than it is making 5% on 1 million units at a royalty. Number two, we're coming out. We're already looking at wireless technology on a DrySafer Plus that you can control with your iPad, and other areas where we can be developing a company and developing equity. And then maybe 2 or 3 years from now, after we've sold 1 million pieces, then we've got more bargaining power as well if we get approached by a company.
Okay, what do the patents cover?
Okay, the patent is all based on airflow. There's a flap inside the, if you look here, that elbow shape, there's a flap inside there. You can't see it, but it's based on airflow technology, and as the airflow starts backing up back into the DrySafer unit, a flap begins to close, and once it closes at 45 degrees, it sends off an alarm. And the alarm will be similar to a softer version of a smoke alarm, and it will also have a light that goes on and off to advise the homeowner that it's time to clean their lint.
Okay.
Their duct. Also looking at, for instance, QC and Costco, which could also be huge opportunities of putting together a value-added package where you buy a dryer vent alarm, and you also get with it a cleaning brush, so that after they've been warned to clean out their vent duct, they also will have the appropriate brush to do it.
Okay, and final question is, do you what agreement do you have with Home Depot?
Okay, nowadays Home Depot, Lowe's, and any big box buyers will literally get fired and walked out the office if they give any type of commitment on a product that, number one, isn't UL approved or isn't in a production, because time after time over the years, they used to give POs on product, and then all of a sudden when the product's due to be delivered, the manufacturer tells the buyer, well, you know, I'm sorry, but we ran into some production problems, and then the buyers are saying, well, you know, we've already got the TV scheduled, the newspaper insert scheduled with your thing, and you're telling me you're not, you don't have the product ready, so you're not going to get a commitment. We do have a lot of positive response from the past customers. In fact, I talked to one the other day, and he said, hey, Jack, as soon as you're ready, let's get it back in here because you've resolved all the issues. So you just will not get any kind of a commitment from the big box guy. They just do not get the relationship in. They will tell you, unless you're going to, even if the newest product product in the world. The best you're going to get is, hey, looks good. When you're ready, come on in. And that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, very good. That's it for the questions. Thank you guys for presenting today. I'll follow up with the investors and see what the next steps are. I appreciate you guys coming on and giving the information. And with that, we'll go ahead and close it out for now. Thank you.